Hi everybody, welcome to this edition of HCS Matters. I'm John Wright, the Director of Public Relations for Hardin County Schools, and the Grow Your Own program is wonderful, for lack of a better way to say it. We are taking folks who work for the district and we are helping them to become teachers, whether they are long-term subs, whether they are instructional assistants, whether they are already teachers and want to become administrators, or whether or not they maybe are teaching, have come back to teach in the classroom, and we're helping them earn their Masters of Education. And then also the Hardin HCS students, HCS graduates, if you graduated in the last couple of years, you are eligible for that program as well. Shelley Clark runs that program for us. She is our Director of Student Engagement and
Director of Education Development and Student Support.
Yeah, student
it's
support.
A long name.
I was close. Shelley is a lot of things to a lot of people, and Ms. Clark, let's talk about the roots of Grow Your Own. I just spewed out a lot of information, but let's get out into it. And how have you seen Grow Your Own really change the lives of its participants and change the way our district does business?
Absolutely. So Grow Your Own really started with Western Kentucky University, reached out to about 20 different districts in the state. Hardin County was one of those, and we're one of the biggest participants in the Grow Your Own, but they realized there's a critical teacher shortage in our state. And so they wanted to partner with districts to try to solve that problem. So Hardin County jumped on board, and we started with the classified to certified Grow Your Own cohort, and that was before I was in this position, but we had several people jump on board and that are getting either their bachelor's or their master's in teaching. And so far we've already had I think 6 people graduate from us helping to pay for their education through Grow Your Own. So currently we have about 75 people, yes, that we're helping with their education, from high school students that recently graduated all the way to people like Ms. Parker, who you'll hear from later today, about who went to get their administrative degree, and she just graduated as well. So we have a lot of great participants in the program who are working hard. Some of them, like you said, are in the classroom already working with kids. And so those are definitely an advantage to the district, and that we're helping to pay for their education really helps them and helps us at the same time.
Madeline Ditto, who we'll talk with later on, Madeline is really she has roots in education. She's an HCS grad, but also she is essential because she is literally already in the classroom teaching, and we're with her bachelor's degree already, but we're helping her get her master's degree. That's huge, but it speaks to the power of this program. Absolutely,
because Madeline is teaching math, which is a huge critical shortage area in the state of Kentucky. So we definitely appreciate Madeline and all of the people. We have several people that are majoring in math and science, which is a big critical shortage area.
So WKU, obviously, so the way the program works, we pay a third of the people's tuition, or about a third.
It just depends on the program. So we'll run through them real quickly. So our classified to certified, if you're majoring in most things, we pay a third, WKU pays a third, and the student pays a third. In addition to that, WKU gives them reduced tuition. So it ends up they pay like $350 a class. Now, if you are majoring in math or science, we pay 50%, Western pays 50%, and they don't pay zero for their education classes. That is for classified to certified and for our high school graduates. For the people that are wanting to be principals or school leaders, we pay a quarter, WKU pays a quarter, and then the student pays 50%.
So people are saying, okay, well, where's Hardin County Schools getting the funds to do this? But it's grant funded right now.
It is partially grant funded, as well as our Board of Education is very supportive. We appreciate our board members. They gave a specific amount to the program, and we have used part of that amount. But yes, there are some grant funds that we've used as well.
So that's what I was going to say. So let's speak to the power of what the Board of Education has said. Look, this is great. We're going to continue to do this no matter if the grant funding runs out. we're going to continue to do this. That really speaks to what you were talking about earlier, the problem of the teacher shortage.
Exactly, and the fact that the board recognizes that we have a teacher shortage and they're willing to support that just goes to show that, you know, our board members are really in tune with what's going on and what we need as a district.
So, Ms. Clark, from what I'm seeing and what I've heard and what I know, you know, I've seen what we call classified staff. That means somebody that doesn't need a degree to do their job. But we've seen like instructional assistants. We've seen probably other folks in that. I guess speak to what you've seen through that and how you've seen people kind of, you know, rise through the ranks, literally, to be in the classroom.
Right, and so far we haven't had too many people that are actually still in their job graduate yet. So most of the people that have graduated were people that already had a bachelor's degree and they were working on a master's, and we were able to hire them as what's called option 6, kind of like Madeline Ditto, which you'll be speaking to next. You know, she's option 6. She has a bachelor's, but she wants a master's in teaching. So most of our graduates are that way. The other people that we have, the instructional assistants, the custodial workers, the cafeteria workers, the bus drivers, those kind of people, a lot of them are still going to class. When we pay for their bills each semester, we get to see how many classes they're taking. I mean, these people are working full time, taking 2 to 3 classes a semester, trying to get that teaching degree so they can be in the classroom. So we appreciate their dedication.
The work, and you spoke to it, the dedication they have, because working full-time and then literally going to school right after that and carrying a full-time load, it is really hard, because then you have to go home and do those duties. You've walked in those shoes.
Oh, yeah.
So talk about the power of that dedication and what it truly means. Yeah,
I mean, these people are working full-time, they're going home and being a family member, a friend to other people, and they're going to class. And these classes, you know, while Western's working with people, they realize that they are working adults. You know, there are requirements that have to be met. I'm actually teaching one of the classes for WKU next semester, and just working with the professors there to try to make sure we cover everything we need to cover. I mean, it seems like a big workload, and so I try to think about, you know, like these people, they're in class and they're family members, and then you're asking them to do these projects and these assignments on top of all that. That takes time, you know, and that takes them really wanting to do this.
What have you seen? And Ms. Parker will speak to this, I think, that WKU and HCS do a great job of, like you said, working with people and realizing that, hey, life gets in the way sometimes.
Absolutely. And so, you know, everybody has something going on in their life. You know, and WKU is great about, if you've got something going on, come talk to your professor. The professor will work with you to try to make sure that you still meet your requirements and you get it done as quickly as you can. But we know that things happen in your job and your family. Right.
You've got a million things on your plate as a district administrator. This is just one of them. So if you're selling this program, somebody's new to the district, they're in a classified position, or if they're a student who are getting ready to graduate, hey, really, I really want to think about teaching. What do you say to them to really get them in this Grow Your Own program?
Well, the biggest factor, obviously, is the financial support, because anybody that's wanted to go back to school, you know, that's a big barrier a lot of times, is I just don't have the money to do it. But for me, it's kind of personal in a way. My mother was an instructional assistant in the school district for over 20 years, and I think she would have made the absolute best teacher. And this program didn't exist for her. And so I always try to think about people in her situation and think, man, if my mom could have done this, what an awesome teacher she would have been. And so I try to encourage people, you know, if you have that little bit of spark and you really think you want to work with kids, let's make this happen. Awesome.
It's a great program. We're going to be speaking with a couple of folks here in just a minute. We're here at North Hardin High School. We're going to speak with Madeline Ditto, who is a math teacher here at North Hardin, and also Tiandra Parker, who is an assistant principal at North Hardin High School. And we'll talk about their journey through Grow Your Own. Then we're going to travel down the road to Lakewood Elementary School and speak with Anessa Beeler, who is a teacher there at a special needs teacher at Lakewood Elementary. We're with our first teacher that we're going to follow up with today about Grow Your Own, Madeline Ditto, who teaches algebra here at North Hardin High School, is where we're hanging out with her. Teaches freshman algebra, and Ms. Ditto, teaching is in your blood. Obviously, your mom is a teacher. So talk about it. You came out of college with a totally different degree, right?
Yes.
So talk about, first of all, how you what brought you or drew you back to the classroom.
So I graduated from Western with an exercise science degree, and then I had a semester before PT school, so I was doing long-term sub and subbing a lot at North Middle, and so after that I almost just didn't go to PT school in general, and I was like, well, going to school and then falling back to teaching if it's not what I want to do, like I didn't think it was, you don't have to apply again to go to PT school. Getting into a teaching program is way easier than getting into a doctorate program.
Right,
So I was like, well,
right.
try, and then we'll result in.
Right.
So that's
Right.
kind of where, and
Okay.
then when I was subbing, I fell in love with teaching the kids and helping and being that
Right.
person for kids.
Right. So the Grow Your Own program, I mean, is that something you knew about when you had that urge to get back into the classroom, or did you just kind of stumble upon
Yes,
it?
so it came about, so I actually applied for the Grow Your Own program before I went to PT school, and then when I decided to go to PT school, I was like, well, never mind, I'm not going to go into teaching. So then when I dropped out of PT school to go back to teaching, I contacted Ms. Clark and was like, hey.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So the program obviously requires you to work for the district, which you do.
Yes.
You're a math teacher here at North Hardin, but also it requires you to be enrolled. You're a full-time student, right?
Yes, at Western.
So talk about how you balance the two, because
So-
being a teacher full-time is hard
Yes.
enough, but now you're a full-time
So really,
student.
I start my classes in January, so I haven't
Okay.
got to that part yet,
Okay.
but hopefully there's a big.
Okay. Well, how do you perceive it
How
going?
do I perceive it going? So I
yeah.
only have 3 classes, so hopefully, which is full time in grad
Okay.
school, but
Okay.
hopefully I have a good planning hour. I can get my stuff done. I get here early in the morning anyways.
Okay.
So early in the mornings, I stay after.
Right.
So hopefully.
Right. So you come in at an advantage, really. You already have your degree.
Yes.
You have your bachelor's degree. So you're really in graduate school, as you said. So carrying 9 hours, but still, I would think being in a graduate program would be a little bit stiffer anyway. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes.
Okay. So when you're here, you are. I don't want to ask your age. I think everybody can tell you that you're younger than me. But how does teaching high school students at this younger age, how do they react to seeing a teacher who's probably just a few years younger than they are?
So I get the question a lot, Miss Ditto, how old are you? Are you even old enough to be here? Or like my first day here, I walked into the teacher workroom and I got, oh, this is for teachers only. Like, I was like, oh, I'm the new math teacher. So it definitely, but I feel like I came in like with the foot on the ground with the kids, and from day one, I never let them perceive.
Right.
And I
Perceive
always,
that you're
yes,
one of
which
them.
some of the
right.
kids knew, because I had them last year at North Middle, and then
Okay.
some don't, and then they just talk amongst each other. And
So you're teaching how you implement things, teaching strategies, things like that. Obviously, those are things that you're going to get in your teaching as you perceive as you go get your master's in teacher education. But so how have you kind of implemented the art of teaching without getting that practicum of teaching?
So my first couple weeks, I was like, oh my gosh, and Miss Thompson is great. She's helped me so much. She's like, okay, this is how I'm gonna do it, and you don't have to do it this way, but I just want to be there to help you. And she helped so much those first couple weeks, and then after the first 2 or 3 weeks, I kind of would tweak a couple things on my own or come up with things. So she really, like those first, she was just like, she's great.
Yeah, so talk about that. So, obviously every content area has these professional learning communities.
Yes.
And so talk about how those teachers have kind of taken you under their wing, I
Yes,
guess.
when I came in, I had like 3 days before my first day of starting. So she was just like, all of them, they were like, is there anything I can do to help you? Like, this is what we're going to do, and you don't have to use it. Like, do not feel like you have to, but it was just a big help not having to figure out, find all of these things, get everything ready, just having them there. And then now I can share what I'm going to do with them instead of always just relying off of what they're going to do.
Gotcha. You're an HCS grad, went to
Yes.
Central Hardin High School. Obviously, did that have, this is where your roots are? Did that have a big role in saying that really not only this is what I want to do, but this is where I want to do it?
Yes, so I, like all through high school, math was my favorite. I went to the academy, took every math class that I could, and those teachers kind of pushed me to where I was like, like the way they helped me, I want to be able to help them, because you have some where you don't learn, like people learn math different ways, and you have to be able to adapt to all of your students and the way that they learn them. And those teachers that I had through the academy really were like, oh, okay, this is how you do it. And they adapted to each student. And I wanted to be able to do that, and I wanted to give that back to Hardin County.
Awesome. So where do you hope Madeline Ditto is in 5, 10, 15 years from now?
Hopefully still, actually 5-10 years, I would like to move up through education, maybe counseling, or even assistant principal, maybe something along the lines.
Awesome.
If I'm still teaching, I'm still teaching, and that's where I was supposed to be.
Awesome. Well, Madeline Ditto is a great example of this Grow Your Own program, and she's going to be a great teacher. She already is. She's going to do wonderful things for our students in Hardin County Schools. All right, Tiandra Parker is an assistant principal at North Hardin High School. Almost said North Middle because that's where she did her teaching, was at North Middle. But she's an assistant principal at North Hardin High School, and first year of principalship. Before we get into that, how's it been in administration, your first year?
Well, first part of the year, it was very difficult, just learning your way. Even though you go through school and you learn the different techniques and those things, it still is different when your feet hit the ground running. So first part of the year, I didn't know anything, and it was very difficult not knowing anything. I was used to navigating as a teacher and knew that those, grounds.
Okay. So the Grow Your Own program has been as we've learned in talking with Ms. Ditto and Ms. Clark here at the beginning, the Grow Your Own program has been instrumental, and it has been a big part of that. I guess talk about your experience. I mean, because I'm not sure you would be sitting here as an assistant principal today without it. Is that a fair statement?
That is so fair. Actually, going into administration was not something that was on my radar ever. I wanted to do something different. I did want to come out of the classroom eventually, but I didn't see myself as an administrator. And so honestly, Grow Your Own had come through several times, and one of the bus drivers for our district and my husband are best friends, and he was like, has your wife thought about this? And I said, no. And so then my husband comes back in. And so after, I really thought about it, and it was very instrumental. I probably wouldn't have done it had it not been for the cohort, Grow Your Own, and got into it, and now I absolutely love the work that I'm doing.
Talk about some of your experiences, because here you were teaching.
Yes.
You were going to school. Ms. Ditto hadn't started the school part yet, but she will. So just talk about how you manage life. So I mean, you're needed at home, you're needed at school, and obviously you're needed in that classroom. So how did you manage life?
I will tell you this: the Grow Your Own program, they are very good because they do know we're full-time teachers. They really do accommodate that. My professors were amazing. So while I'm fortunate that my children are grown, some people aren't, and some of those teachers had children at home. So they were very understanding, worked with our schedules. You could email them and say, hey, I'm going to be a little bit behind on, they were just very accommodating. I think that's the benefit of having this program designed especially for teachers.
Tiandra Parker is a great salesperson for this program because you've lived it. I mean, you literally have gone through it. So if somebody's in the classroom right now, or maybe they're they're in PT, got out of PT school like Ms. Ditto just did, and man, I really want to go to the classroom. How can I manage that, or how can I do that? Tell them why they should take advantage of this Grow Your Own program. Not
only do they work with your schedule, but also you're getting help with this. We all know that school is expensive, and so that part is a benefit. The fact that it is geared toward teachers, for teachers. It is the best place to be because these are people that have that experience. They've been in the classroom. They know what it's like. I mean, and that you can't say anything greater than that. They know what it's like. So they really work with you on that.
The administration, from what I could gather, I know they have. The administration at North Hardin High School has embraced you and just welcomed you to be part of this team. Talk about that transition that you made from the classroom to administration. Obviously, you saw administrators at work at North Middle when you were teaching, but now you're part of that team. How have you embraced that role as an administrator?
Again, that is, you hear it when you're in your coursework. When you actually do it, it is something different. I've been really fortunate in my career. At the middle school level, I was able to kind of get like a bird's eye view of it. Mr. Loman was really good about that. So I was but it is still different when you begin to walk out that role. And you know nothing. Even though in your coursework you learn all these things, orchestrating it and putting it in practice can be very difficult. So thank goodness you have those people you can go to and say, help, tell me what I do next. And sometimes I felt like I was asking them over and over the same thing, but they were very good about saying, okay, just do this, go this way, call this person, those kind of things. So it's very different. And I think as an educator, as a teacher, sometimes we look at administration and we have no clue of what is really going on behind the scenes, things that we are not at liberty to tell the teachers, but that we're doing every day and all day. So it's definitely and I was fortunate. I got to have a bird's eye view, beforehand. Not everybody gets that.
Right, and I think so many of, you go to principal school, so to speak, and that's what you did, and all, for lack of a better term, but there's no experience like experiencing it.
Exactly, exactly. I went into one of my coworkers' office this morning and I said to her, I actually feel like I'm starting to know something. I really do. And so I walk in and I'm like, oh, I know what to do on that, and so it does feel good.
And it's January.
It is January, and so I almost have a year under my belt. I love what I'm doing. I love the people that I get to do this with. It's been a learning experience. I've learned some valuable lessons of things not to do, and things that I would tell other people. Please don't do this. Don't make this choice or whatever. But as far as the program itself, it is absolutely amazing, and I feel like they do a great job of preparing you as much as you can be prepared.
Yeah. So talk about, and I'm gonna ask you to blow the Hardin County Schools horn for just a second. So you really what the district is doing is, we've heard from WKU, it's really a trend-setting program. Just talk about, I guess I'm not sure any other district could. You would be in the place where you are if it wasn't for Hardin County Schools. Is that a fair statement?
It is definitely a fair statement. I went through WKU for my bachelor's as well. It wasn't the Grow Your Own, and so it was good. Went through another school, which I will not name, for my first master's, and it was not a good experience. I don't think that they took in consideration that we were full-time teachers on top of going to school full-time. So to come back to Western, again with this Grow Your Own, Hardin County and Western Kentucky has done an amazing job of pairing together and making this program where it's doable. Honestly, there were only a few times that I can say during my coursework that I was like, I'm a little overwhelmed. That's something to say.
Well, sure.
It was, just
a couple times.
Just a couple of times where I'm like, oh, but honestly, they make it where you can, you can swallow it and you can digest it as well. One of the things I loved about the Grow Your Own program, as administrators, we are in leadership and we have all these different personalities and temperaments, teachers, parents, students, and they do a great job of helping you to kind of look at that, those different temperaments and how to deal with them while looking at yourself and saying, you know what, okay, how can I, engage with these people based on my temperament as well. And so that's been good. I've had to sometimes this year go to my teachers and say, hey, I'm so sorry, because, and honestly, because, you're just like, okay, from my coursework, learning that this teacher needs it this way. I think those are benefits that come with the program.
Trying to be all things to all people is hard.
To all people, it is. But
hard.
you balance that and you learn, you trial and error. Trial and error.
I hope you're principal one day in this district.
Right now, I just want to get assistant principal under my belt. But it's been good. I've enjoyed the ride. There's been some rocky. There has. But you one day at a time. That's what I keep saying.
Keandra Parker is awesome. She was in an awesome cohort of new administrators and new teachers that are coming to Hardin County Schools because of Grow Your Own. We're finishing our episode of HCS Matters with Anissa Beeler. She is a special needs teacher, instructor at Lakewood Elementary School. And you have, not that the others that we've talked to today didn't have a great story. Your story is extremely unique. Kind of give us the cliff notes. Anissa, you started, you got your teaching certificate, a teaching degree. You stayed home with children. You tell it. You tell it much better than I do.
Well, in my 20s, I did earn a bachelor's degree in English and Allied Arts, and my first initial teaching prospects where I wanted to do high school English. But I did stay home after college, and I stayed home for a good 13 years or so.
Okay.
So whenever I came back into teaching, I came back as a sub, and I subbed for a few years, an instructional assistant. And in those years, I thought about going back to regain my certification, but with 3 kids, it was hard to afford to go back. All my money went into their sports and all their fun things
it's life.
too. Life, paying the bills.
Right.
So, yeah, I did sub for a while, and I did take a few college courses to try to regain that certification, but it just was too expensive to really do.
Certification lapses. That's what I think.
Yes.
Some people don't understand that.
Yes, and so I needed to take a couple of college classes to just to regain where I could go to work full time, but I never got that opportunity just because of life. So I did sub. After a few years of subbing, the benefits is something that I was really looking for.
Right.
And so I took a job as an instructional assistant since I just couldn't make it back to college to finish everything I started. I worked as an instructional assistant in kindergarten for 7.5 years, and I absolutely loved it.
Right.
And there for a while I thought that was where I was going to stay, but I'm surrounded by exceptional teachers, and they are just an inspiration to want to do better. So I did decide in 2017 to go back to college and to just jump in and do everything. But at that time, the colleges that I was interested in required a entrance exam, and that was the praxis. And I passed all parts, but I had a really hard time passing the math portion. So I took it. I kept scoring a 148 in ballpark of there, and the passing was a 150. So I couldn't get past it. So I just resigned myself to this is where I'm going to be, because without getting into college, I couldn't finish. I had taken 4 classes, but that's all they would allow without that exam. So I just resigned myself to, instructional assistant. I love it. It just wasn't where I wanted to be.
Right. So then Grow Your Own came along. Right?
Grow Your Own came along, and I went to the meeting reluctantly because I was like, oh, it's just another thing, it might not work for me. But while I was in the room, I was surrounded with people like myself that were this close to being a teacher. And I was surrounded by people that were just starting. And the more that I heard their stories, the more I was inspired to do this, to apply and to try. And I did. And not only did Grow Your Own help me because they provided part of the financial assistance, but they provided me with information I needed to know to be able to go back to college. The praxis an entrance exam was no longer required in most schools. And, this was through Western, and they didn't require it. So it set me up with the people I needed to talk to.
What I've heard from the other folks about Grow Your Own is flexibility. That's a big piece of this.
Oh, it is. Yeah, flexibility, definitely. There were a lot of things that I needed to do to be accepted into the program. I applied. I also had to go back and take a praxis, but not the same one. This one got me my initial certification back. So whenever I started the Grow Your Own project and I started taking my special ed courses, I also got my certification back to teach high school English. So as soon as I was accepted into Grow Your Own, I started my classes. I started looking for a job. And I was hired at Central Hardin under an emergency certification for special education, and it was a fantastic year. I'm so glad that I just went ahead and jumped in and did it, because I've gained so much knowledge. I've gained I feel like colleagues and friends, and most of all, I got to be the teacher I wanted to be.
Grow Your Own it demands a lot.
It does.
But talk about how it's worth it in the end.
Oh, it definitely is worth it, because I've gone from being an instructional assistant, which is a very hard job, but it just doesn't pay what teacher pay does. And it's not just about the pay. I'm getting to work with students that I feel that I'm learning from, and I hope that they're benefiting from the things I'm giving them. So I don't have any regrets about applying for the program and doing this. I just wish I could have done it sooner in life, because that was one of the things. Whenever Grow Your Own came along, I was 49 years old, and I'm thinking, I'm almost 50. Should I do this? Is it worth it? But it definitely has been worth it.
If somebody's sitting on the fence, sitting in your position,
I'll go into it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, definitely. And I know that I've talked to a lot of friends here and at other schools to where people, instructional assistants is the ones that I talk to the most. And they're like, well, you know, I'm this age or I'm that age. I just don't know if I should. I really feel like you should, because whether you do the program or not, you're still going to progress in age. So, I mean, why not be 50 and trying rather than be 50 and staying where you are? You know?
Is there something to, because I'm right on your heels of age. I think there's something, I wish I could go back and do school over again. I'll say that. If I had to do it, I may not. But it seems like I'm a better learner now at this age. And talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, because your priorities are a little bit more in order. The classes that I've taken have been very, very challenging. They're special education courses, and I've learned so many things that are applicable to use in the classroom. And it has not been easy, but it has definitely been worth it to do this. And I have one more class to go, and I will graduate this May. So I'm just really, really happy that I did do this, and I did have the opportunity through Hardin County Schools.
Awesome. Ms. Beeler provides a great story with Grow Your Own. If you're interested in Grow Your Own, or if you're an HCS staff member and you want to become a teacher, if you're a bus driver, custodian, you're in a certified position, instructional assistant, if you want to become a teacher, just contact Shelley Clark at Central Office. That's SHELEE.Clark@hardin.kyschools.us. We'll put her email at the bottom of the screen. She's wonderful. You saw her at the beginning of this program, and she can take you through this program, and you can have a success story like Ms. Beeler has had, like Ms. Ditto and Ms. Parker have talked about in this program. Thank you for watching this edition of HCS Matters.